Hey, what's good, y'all? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So at this point in time, we have talked about pretty much every possible mechanic that we want to transfer over from Pokemon Legends in depth at this point. And I think that's pretty fair considering the fact that Pokemon Legends was so interesting and unique that it set kind of a new standard for Pokemon. So now that we've pretty much covered the basis of things that we want to return, why don't we start talking about some things that we don't want to come back? And I'm not just talking about Pokemon Legends, I'm talking about the series as a whole right now. As much as I love when Pokemon tries something new or just keeps things at work, I gotta say, there are just some things that we really do not need to see in this series anymore. There's the things that they've been doing for decades that simply don't need to be here anymore, and there's also the things that they tried didn't necessarily work and that they can stop trying now. Considering that Generation 9 is about to be the first true open world generational Pokemon game, I think that it's more than fair to have some reasonable expectations, one of those things being, we cannot take steps back anymore. Or at the very least, not right now. Maybe for some other games down the line, but not now. Not for the first biggest step you guys have taken in a very long time. You can't do that. Now, I should warn you guys going into this that there is going to be a tidbit of repetition. A couple of things that we've talked about a little bit already, but I'm still going to throw it in here for the sake of really clarifying things that we don't need going forward. However, there are a couple of new things in here that I kind of held off on talking about solely because it's a little bit of a spoiler for the review, I'm not going to lie, but we've gone this long talking about a lot of other spoilers for the review, so at this point, whatever, you guys are going to get it one way or another. So I think that just about does it for all of my intro stuff, so why don't we finally start talking about some of the mechanics that we do not need to come back in Generation 9, Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. So the first one we have talked a little bit about already, but I'm going to bring it up solely because this is the most infuriating possibility of the bunch. Encounter first catching. For anybody that has no idea what I'm talking about, this refers to the basic of basics with Pokemon. You would walk out into the grass, a wild Pokemon would attack you, you throw out your Pokemon, you battle, and you catch the wild Pokemon. It was exactly like this, ever changing until we got to the Switch. Granted, for a minute there, we still had to physically run into the Pokemon, even if it was in the overworld, to battle or catch it, but we were evolving, and that's something I was always okay with. Ignoring the remakes, we finally got up to Legends where we didn't even have to do that really anymore. That one little change made pretty much all the difference in the world. Sit down with anybody that's played Pokemon Legends and has played pretty much any other Pokemon game, they will say nothing different than I am right now. And if you do, you're probably built like a crazy person, but that's not what we're here to talk about. So anyway, with the information that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is going to be an open world game, you would think that this mechanic would obviously transfer over to the new generation of games. But if it were only so simple. Now, I have mentioned this twice already, but I'm going to mention it again briefly just because of how vague it is. The official quote is posted up in one of my earlier Scarlet and Violet videos from earlier last month. I don't have it on me and I can't really find it right now, but essentially, the post said something about having to battle wild Pokemon in order to catch them. I don't know about y'all, but that raised a lot of red flags for me. Granted, it wouldn't be the worst thing to go back to of all time or anything, but going back and playing the other games, I've really come to understand how much that simple feature has slowed the series down to a crawl. The existence of Pokemon Legends' mechanic of just walking out, throwing Pokeballs, and just getting into battle immediately wherever you are has proven that we do not really need to just sit there, wait for the Pokemon to introduce itself, have to throw out a Pokemon before engaging in literally anything. I've talked about it enough, I've talked about it in depth. Point is, it would be one of the fattest steps back in the series if we really were to go back to that. But at the very least, if we could keep the overworld encounters just like they have been, then fine. I can live with that, I guess. Frankly, I would just rather not, but I guess that's just how it has to be sometimes. Anywho, another mechanic that we've talked a little bit about here and there is the move tutors and name raiders. I'll say it just like I said it in one of the other 3 videos that I talked about it in. We don't need this back. At all. When you give one of your friends a nickname, are you going to the courthouse every single time you change up their nickname? Are you kidding me? Do you know how many times I would have been to the courthouse by now? And how many different nicknames I would have? It would be ridiculous. and so expensive. Now, when I say move tutor, I'm not talking about the Pokemon Legends situation. That is actually a prime time example of how it should be. What I don't want is to have to go back to something like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, where we still need something like Heart Scales to relearn old moves. Personally, it takes me a very, very long time of learning new skills and things like that before I've forgotten an old one. For example, the only reason that I would have forgotten how to play an instrument is because it's been well over a decade since I have played said instrument. Logically speaking, in real time, there's no way that our journey lasts more than like a month or two at best. These Pokemon should always have access to their older moves no matter what. I think that should be a thing. And again, I've talked about this one extensively already. We're gonna move past it. We're gonna probably talk about it one last time in the review, but we're gonna move on. Now let's talk about some things that I actually haven't talked about at all. Now this next one here doesn't really have an official like name or anything or to my knowledge it doesn't. I don't know what everybody calls it, but I usually refer to it as the Pokemon support mechanic or the Pokemon loves you mechanic. For anybody that doesn't recall, it's basically that mechanic where Pokemon will dodge moves, land critical hit, tank critical hits just because it loves you enough. This mechanic was introduced in 6th gen with Pokemon Amie. If you treated your Pokemon right and took care of them, they would take care of you in battle, and in a sense it does make a lot of sense. That's super fair. However, it's an extremely busted ass mechanic. Like legit, if you just walk around with your Pokemon enough, it'll love you enough to the point where it will tank hits, deal crits, and dodge moves. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. It's not even RNG anymore at that point. The only reason I bring this up is because every single Pokemon game has really struggled with giving us genuine difficulty. I had completely forgotten about the mechanic for a good minute until they brought it back in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and I was like, oh god. Now, I feel the exact same way about this as I do with the experience share situation. It is an okay mechanic and it's great for a casual playthrough. However, for people like me that are definitely looking for more of a challenge in these games, I want the option to turn something like that off if you include it. For anybody that likes the mechanic, more power to you, but me personally, I find it pretty annoying when I'm trying to catch a Pokemon and I need to lower its health and my Pokemon lands a crit on the Pokemon and kills it because it loves me too much. That's a ridiculous thing, man. I'll say it once more just to reiterate. You don't have to take it away, you don't have to remove it completely from the series, just make it optional. That's it. That's all I ask. I want more intense battles, and that kind of takes it away when it's like, oh, Pokemon dodged this really crazy Hyper Beam, and you're at 1% because it loves you. It just takes away from the intensity. Moving aside from that, another thing that I actually don't think that we need back, and this one may come as a shock to some of you, but the perma status effect. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the mechanic where if you get burned or paralyzed or poisoned, you stay that way for the entirety of the battle. Now, on one hand, that makes a lot of sense. You know, if you're paralyzed, you shouldn't be able to get over that unless you get healed by something or poisoned or burned. It makes sense. However, after playing Pokemon Legends, I've come to realize something. If your Pokemon can still manage to stay on the field for maybe 4 to 5 turns after being burned or paralyzed or put to sleep, it deserves to be able to shake off that status effect. And honestly, you don't even need to get rid of the items or anything like that either. You could still utilize those items if you feel like you're in a crucial position where you cannot risk being burned or poisoned or frozen or whatever. Now, I'm not exactly sure how well that would fly in a competitive aspect, but from a casual standpoint, personally, I don't think it needs to be the same way anymore. I really don't. Also gonna toss something right in at the end here. Add drowsy effect back. Putting the Pokemon completely to sleep is absolutely ridiculous. Drowsy is perfect. Bring that back. Moving along here, the next thing that I actually haven't talked about before is something that's incredibly stupid to me and should never come back ever again. Shiny locking. Like, why? Why is that a thing? There is literally no purpose for shiny locking to exist. Ever since shiny Pokemon have been acknowledged, it's been a huge thing in the community forever. People love shiny hunting. That's a big primary post-game thing to do in your games. I don't understand the logic in designing a shiny version of a Pokemon and then making it completely inaccessible. For what purpose? We have a hard enough time accessing some of these Pokemon as it is currently. Shiny locking them just seems really counterproductive when trying to make a longer lasting game. And when I say shiny locking, I'm talking about all of the mythical Pokemon, all of the legendary Pokemon, all of the super rare Pokemon, the starter Pokemon. Just don't shiny lock. Don't do that. Shiny locking is literally a helps nobody, hurts everybody type situation. If somebody gets lucky enough to run into a shiny version of a legendary, then they've earned it. Or on the alternative, if somebody has been hunting for weeks on end for that legendary and they get it, then they have definitely earned it. I'm just saying, yo, don't take that away. There are a lot of really ugly shiny Pokemon, and the best of the bunch sometimes aren't even really accessible half the time. Just don't do that. That's all I'm asking here. Anyway, moving along from that, this next one kind of stems from my anger towards Nintendo as well as Pokemon with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, but limited time events. Now, I'm sure that there's somebody yelling at me through the screen right now, Soul, why would you think they would do something like... This isn't the remakes, they wouldn't do something like that. Yeah, you would think so, huh? We also thought that the remakes were gonna be good, and then they showed us the remakes. I don't have a lot of faith in Pokemon like I used to. All I'm saying in this situation is that I wouldn't put it past them to utilize that technique to try and get more people into the game or to do the event really quickly for a quick cash grab situation. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but when things tend to be around for a limited time or there's a limited amount of that item, people flock to it to get their hands on it before it's gone because they don't want to miss out on their chance of getting that thing. And when it's over, they can say, hey, I have that thing because I was there for it. Now, while it was a free situation when it comes to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, that may not be the case for Generation 9. Just based on previous endeavors and Pokemon Company most likely breathing down Game Freak's neck, I would not be shocked if something like that happened. I don't want it to happen. Just pull a DLC, leave it there forever, and be done. I think that one definitely stems from my anger with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Having Shaman and Darkrai, some of the coolest mythicals ever, as limited time again for no reason, it just baffles me. It really does. And I can't help but think they're gonna pull something really stupid like that again. So I just want to put it out there that it's not necessary. We will pay for a permanent event. Just please be smart about this. Now moving on to my final thing that we actually briefly touched up upon in one of my recent videos, like within the last two I believe, but codes. I will say it as many times as necessary to get it through their thick skulls up there at Pokemon Company and Game Freak that codes are extremely annoying. Going from 7th gen to Pokemon Let's Go was extremely jarring because we went from having access to just play with friends to needing codes to do every single interaction. I'm tired of having to type in janky ass codes for like a 50% chance of them working. Just please let us add friends on some kind of in-game system or something. If you can't do it with the Switch, just something where we don't have to type in codes to do stuff with friends. It's so exhausting. I also think we did mention at some point that this might just be a Nintendo situation because this is kind of how it works with a lot of their games, and I'm tired of that too, which is why with Pokemon, I hope they just take that liberty and just make an in-game system for us to play with friends. Is that hard? Do you have to bypass something? Is that a lot of work? Do you have to fight Nintendo on it or something? I just don't understand. Anyway, just saying, at some point, if you're not going to do it properly, I would like for codes to disappear. Other than that, we're more or less forced to work with the hands that we're given. So that just about does it on all my thoughts and mechanics that really do not need to return in Generation 9. We've been saying this forever now, but that's just because it's so damn true that we've taken too far of a step in the right direction to go back in any way, because if we do, it's gonna start damaging the series even worse than it already has been. So for the sake of sanity, I really hope they're thinking about what they're doing with these new games here. Sure, open world can be fine, but there are so many possibilities of steps back that it may not even matter. So all I'm saying is, be careful. That's it. So that just about wraps up my thoughts on everything here. I'm gonna say what I said pretty much in the last two videos, just in case a couple of you may not have actually watch it till the end, because I understand you don't want to hear the end ramblings and stuff like that, but that's what I like to do. I'm a talker, bro. That's what I do. But what do you guys want to talk about next? We are pretty much in dry territory when it comes to Pokemon. We have pretty much covered everything regarding Scarlet and Violet, and the only new Pokemon things to talk about are like the apps or Unite. So, you know, other than the game stuff, we could talk about anything Pokemon related. So I want to hear what you guys think. Do you guys want to talk more about the games or more about Scarlet and Violet? If you could think of anything else that we haven't covered yet, anime, manga, let me know, because I do have some ideas that I want to throw at you guys, and I may just drop those, but don't hesitate to tell me what you guys are thinking. So anyhow, why are you looking so dehydrated, homie? Hold up. Before we continue, why don't you go ahead and get some water? Yeah, right over there. Go ahead and get some. Yeah, man. Drink up. Whoa, what's with all the cough? Are you good? Are you choking? Don't worry. I know the Heimlich. I got you. How? How did the mite get in that water? That is disgusting. Whoever put that in there, shame on you. But we should just dry that off, turn it back on, and tell me what your guys' thoughts are on the situation of the mechanics that we don't want in the next game. Do you guys agree with anything that I've said? Did I miss any mechanics that we really do not need back that could possibly come back for future entries, not just Scarlet and Violet? Let me know everything you're thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always down there with you guys. But with that, I'm gonna get the hell up out of here. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And with that, I'm outro. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!